So bridges are a great exercise and really can be implemented in any type of situation. What I'm going to do right now is walk through different ways to progress and different variations of the bridge, which is a common exercise. Traditionally, most people do bridges where both feet on the ground, hands down by their side, and they simply bridge up. The problem with this variation of the bridge is you get too much low back movement, and really the purpose of the bridge is to get the hips working. Now, it's not just about the hips, it's also about the core and what's going on here. So if Ashley bridges up and she keeps going, you notice a lot of this is coming from her low back. So really where Ashley needs to stop is going to be more like right there. But again, we'll go ahead and go down, Ashley. So what happens too often, if I just prescribe this to Ashley, she'll do a few reps and she'll slowly creep in to using too much of that back. Now, what we'll do is actually bring one knee up to protect the spine. Now she can place her hands on top of her leg to keep that leg towards the belly. Now what I like to do is take the hands under the knee, because again, too often you stress that knee. Now, keeping this knee about 90 degrees is pretty much where you want to start. A lot of times people do this bridge and they get a hamstring cramp. Or a hamstring cramp tells me that you're not using your glute well enough. So what we want to do, a couple things we can do here to kind of get the core, and what I'd say the core and glute a little bit more active. So now when Ashley bridges up, if she keeps this leg pinned to that belly, she's going to avoid any low back motion. Now we know everything's coming from the hips. So let's go back down. So one way we can do that, we can take the hand, place it right on the belly, and say, keep your thigh touching your hand. Keep this hand right there. So now we can ensure if this thigh comes off of her hand, we know she's going too far. So give her this feedback so when she goes home and does this on her own, which is what I want her to do, I can ensure that if this thigh is coming off the hand, you're going too far, go a little lower, and then let's repeat. And now, what do we want to do? Let's sync our breathing. Remember, everything we talk about is breathing, okay? So we want to sync our breathing with this. So let's switch it up. So you actually maybe get a little cramp right there in her hamstring. So switch it up, and we want to sync our breathing. So when she goes up, breathe in, go down, so go up, go down, breathe in. Now, what can we do here? Ideally, this bridge is going to be for someone who has a split stance or lunge pattern problem. So that's what we want to do. A couple things we can do here. I can turn the toe in. You'll see a lot of people when they do this bridge, they'll want to bring that toe up and just drive the heel in. By driving the heel down, it does allow you to get a little bit more what we call glute activation, but I don't want to look at this as a glute activation activity. Okay, that's old school thinking. We got to think of this as a pattern. We're typically doing this to improve a pattern, improve the entire system. So we're trying to work everything. So if we're trying to improve the pattern, when the hip is going into extension, which is what we do when we bridge up, that's extension of the hip. We don't necessarily want to have a dorsiflexed ankle. So I don't necessarily like saying keep the ankle dorsiflexed and drive the heel down. I want the foot flat. Now I'll still say use the heel, drive the heel down, but I don't want to accentuate dorsiflexion during hip extension, okay? So this is one thing we can do, keep that knee in. So one thing Ashley's gonna have a problem doing, that knee's gonna want to kind of drift over to me. That's a typical situation. So I want to keep that knee in. I don't want to tell her to keep the knee in because now she's thinking about it. So what I'm going to have her do, which can actually help someone who needs this, is I'm just going to take that band and pull her knee in. So now I'm pulling her knee in. Now she's going to drive herself up, drive that heel on the ground, come back down, sync the breathing. Now, how do we make this harder? Because that's what everybody wants to do. How do I make that harder? How do I make it harder? Now, what we can do, again, I want to make sure that hand and that thigh are touching. Really keep that up there. Limit the range of motion because I don't want to get any back motion. It's all should be coming from the hip. So take the hands above your head. Take a ball, a tennis ball. I just picked this up off behind me in the gym. Take that, set that right there. Don't drop the tennis ball. Keep it. Now, instead of adding weight, instead of trying to make this so complex, I change the system. So what do I do? Just put the arms above the head. As soon as I place the arm above the head, that changes. See, Ashley did a rep that didn't keep that thigh down, so she's got to keep it down there. That's her awareness. Keep that thigh touching. Keep this knee from caving or going out by me using the band. Hook this band up to a wall, a door, whatever you need to. So here's the thing. By me putting our arms up, what does that automatically do? It places more stress on the pelvis. As soon as I put my arms above my head in this shoulder position, it tilts my pelvis. It creates a more difficult position for the spine and the pelvis to work. That's why this is a good place to go once a person gets comfortable in the bridge. But what do we also know? Let's check both sides. So I'd imagine Ashley's already told me she's gonna probably have a little bit more difficulty with this knee or this foot on the ground. So break it out to about 90 degrees. Now go ahead and go up. Good. So now this is a good way. Another variation is going to be straight leg bridges. So now I've straightened her leg out. So let's go all the way back to the start again. Bring your arms down. One hand here. One hand on your belly. Keep that knee tucked. And now you're gonna bridge up. So if I wanna make this easier, okay, and again, take a look at the foot down here. As soon as Ashley goes up, that toe turns out, okay? And when I notice Ashley squat, this toe turns out quite a bit more, so we're gonna check it. So bridge up. Now to make this easier, I could raise her foot a little bit higher. So to make it a little bit easier, I raise it up, put a little bit more of a bolster under there, and I bridge up. And she's gonna be able to go up a little higher. The further we go down to the floor, the harder it's gonna be. Again, we're working on this position. What pattern is this? Single leg stance pattern. This is what we look at when we do our hurdle step test. If Ashley got a lot of problems in that single leg stance on the left, this is where we would focus. Now let's switch it up and see how well she does with the right side down. Both knees up. We got to keep that knee touching the thigh, that thigh touching the hand. Now bridge up and look where the foot position is already. She's got that toe already turned out. So how do we make that, how do we kind of clean that up? We use our band here. And I'm going to take that band, put it around the foot, and I'm going to pull it. Now what does she have to do? Turn that toe to the ceiling. Turn it to the ceiling. Turn it to the ceiling before you go up. So before you go up, turn it to the ceiling. Keep it turned to the ceiling. Breathe in. Oh, don't let it turn out. Good. Because now what this is doing is telling me she's really not using that hip the way we want to as soon as that toe turns out. So I'm going to work on that right here and have her work in this position. Turn that toe in. Toe in, toe in. Back down. Toe in, toe in, toe in. And that band is giving her that feedback that she needs, because all I'm going to tell her to do is keep that toe pointed to the ceiling the entire time. So right now, what I've already identified with her, this is a better bridge position for her rather than the other two variations. We can still throw the arms above the head. Now, where might we want to finish this bridge? Let's go up, and now let's finish with, now let's give her a little bit of feedback. Bend this foot. Let's take this to the knee, excuse me, to the thigh. Let's use the band and put the band around this foot. So now, she's got great mobility, but now we're going to get the upper body involved. So I'm actually going to work on more of a postural position. So now this foot's going to go down to our bridge. So now we can do the same thing here where she's got the band, pull the band back, get the upper body, work on our posture, work on the core. Now drive that heel to the ceiling. Not the toe, heel to the ceiling, drive that heel down. Now we're giving a little bit of resistance on that same side. So now we're working a different pattern, bent knee, straight leg. Could we do this with this leg go straight? Take this leg, straighten it out. Same thing. We could actually make it a little bit more difficult here, giving her this resistance. But I'm not doing it just to add resistance and see how hard I can make it. I'm adding in a little upper body work here as well. So a lot of different variations here we can do on something as simple as a bridge. Hey guys, if you like the video, definitely hit the thumbs up. And if you want to stay informed, hit the bell so we can notify you anytime we put up new videos. And of course, any questions or comments, put those at the end. We'll certainly be checking them out and trying to respond. Thanks so much. And remember, always move well and then move often.